So let me unmute you all. Yeah. So let's start the discussion initially. So Vimla, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi Kabir.
Hi Vimla. So how you did? You used the same approach that I have used, or you used a different approach? Hello.
Yeah, the same way I have used.
So one thing,
But
just give me your object names.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, first give me your object name. Just give me your report name. From there we will navigate. So Danny, you also use the same approach or any other approach? So we'll open your report. And what about the others? Didn't they try? Okay, so this is Vimla's approach. So you use the system compatibility as well. And here you are calling your CDS table function. Okay, Stephanie, not an issue. We'll discuss now. So in the CDS table function, you are given client material MKX MTBZ, and here if I navigate, so this part you commented, right, Vimla?
Yeah, Kabir. Yeah, you are.
So one thing I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, in every description that material type also concatenated. No, if I concatenate
automatically, right?
Yeah. No, in the description itself it is like that, I think.
Yeah. I also found that discrepancy. Now just tell me one thing. If you do like this, how many records are you getting? For a particular material number, you are getting 2 records or 1 record?
Yeah, I got it like that only, and again
two records, right?
Yeah, again I included that MANDT equal to MANDT, that both after and M1 MANDT.
So did this solve your issue?
One.
Yeah. So you are getting only one because what's happening? This is a cross-client table, right? T1340, right?
Yeah.
So when you include this mandate, this is one way to handle. You are restricting it on the mandate level.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you don't give this, no. If you would have seen my solution, purposely I had not given this. Even if you don't give this concat now, what happens now? If you just, suppose I'll just show you. So just before discussing, I just want to ask, Danny, you used also the same approach or any other approach? Danny? Similar, right? You also had given mandate, right?
Yeah.
Danny, you can unmute yourself. Today we can discuss because today is the last day. So let's better discuss again.
Yeah,
so
similar.
we also handle the same thing like mandate. Otherwise, if I don't give mandate, no. So Vimla, did you should I try commenting both these mandates and let's observe what is happening so that others can also get to know?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and this is my report. So now I'll execute this report. So Danny and Vimla and others, if you don't handle this mandate, no, this thing starts coming if I don't give any concat and all. By default, the data is like this that normally what happens, like I will have to concatenate, right, Vimla? Normally I will use concatenate to fetch this and this in this way. But since the data is in this way, so one approach is by using concat as in a change sequence to make it stay like this. And the other approach, if you see here, since the data is in this way, so now I need to restrict the data. So one approach, if you use concat and get the data in this way, then you will have to delete adjacent duplicates at the ABAP. One approach. Second approach, if I don't want to do all those, I want to do it everything at the database layer, as like Vimla and they have used, by restricting on mandate, because it's a cross-client table. So if you restrict on mandate, the data, this issue will be gone. So did all try this part? Then on the top of it, I can show one more concept, or like how can we handle without even using mandate as well. Has others tried? Who all are there? Let me see. Stephanie, you were telling that you got some issue. At which step you are stuck up? Is it in this one? CLHD cell tab, combined cell tabs is in this one. Hello? Stephanie? Okay. Let us check yours. So you have designed a selection screen, and here you are trying to get the value. Just so this is your generated where clause, right? Now if you see here, this is the generated where clause, right? So you can, like you have used the inline declaration to get the value. So here, when you are calling your CDS table function, you are passing your sprash as this and your matner as your generated where clause. Are you getting the point, Stephanie? Here, see, simple example is, suppose if there were 6 selection options like material number, material description, third select options, 4 select options and all. So for those 4, you will create LV where 1, LV where 2, LV where 3, LV where 4. Now here, whatever you are giving as a part of the table function importing parameter, as in your table function, this importing parameters. Accordingly, you have to keep on go mapping. So suppose this was the select options 1, cell of 2, cell of 3. So similarly here, while mapping, cell of 1 equals to @LV where 1. Cell of 2 equals to @LV where 2. So in this way you have to do the mapping. Are you getting the point, Stephanie? Is it clear now? Now can you try the same? Now question to you, Vimla. Okay, question to you, Vimla. This S underscore matner, do you know what is the restriction of this number? Up to what characters can I restrict?
I don't know.
I'm not able to hear you, Vimla.
I don't know up to how many characters, but we can't give that matner alone will not be sufficient, right?
Yeah, right. So I'll show you. If I give 1, 3, 3, 3, okay, fine. If I now give 1, 3, 3, 4, see here. So just make a note of this point, everybody. Normally what happens, normally what will happen is in your the selection screen that you will design. So like suppose Vimla has designed a selection screen which has got 6 select options. So obviously you will be having 6 select options. So for each and every one. Now one thing, if all are belonging to the same table, understand this concept properly. if all are belonging to the same table. As in what I mean is, now Vimla has used filter on Mara. So Vimla, now question to you, here when you are designing the selection screen, okay, suppose I am trying to get the data from EKKO and Mara.
Okay.
So 2 fields are from EKKO and 3 fields are from Mara. So for the Mara, the remaining 2 fields, will I use it under the same value hash operator because I am trying to create an internal table here, or am I going to create another LV underscore var2?
I think
Can you tell me the answer?
the same thing.
Yeah. So point to be noted for every one of you is, when you are trying to create a LV underscore var clause, just first analyze that if all the select options are belonging to the same database table, or the group is belonging to 2-3 different database tables. If they are belonging to the same database table, so under value hash, this one record that you have created, right, up to this point. Similarly, after this, add one more record. Like suppose any column name whatever it is, df hash s underscore this thing. What it will do is, when you pass the same type of records and when you are trying to do the table filter here, this apply filter, this will directly filter all those data with respect to all the column names of that Mara. Are you getting the point, Vimla and Danny and others?
Yeah, Kabir.
Okay, so now as I told you, if while doing again from EKKO, again you have to create another var clause and create the internal table on the basis of that, get the var clause for that and pass for that. Got the point now? Everybody, did you get the point? This is very important point when you are trying to make select options and pass it to your CDS table function, and similarly for AMDP as well. Clear everyone? Okay, now one more point that I want to show you is that, so Vimla,
Yeah, Kabir.
when we are trying to pass the mandate, no, see, the thing is that make a practice that after this dref hash s underscore matner, you have declared it here, right? Here there is a field called iv underscore client underscore field. Okay, after this one. See here, iv underscore client underscore field. Make use of this client field to pass the mandate directly.
Okay.
Getting my point, Vimla?
Yeah.
Make use of this so that exclusively again you don't have to go to your AMDP function or AMDP methods and write mandate again.
Okay.
Pass that and directly filter the data here.
Okay.
So that when you are applying filter, it will directly apply the filter with respect to your Mara with respect to that client only. Like not only Mara, whatever internal table variables you are creating here as in the temporary variables, all filtration will be done, and that exclusively again you don't have to give a mandate and filter the data. As in what I mean is, suppose you get LT Mara here, right? Now if I want to get the data only from, again you are writing no select m1.mandate. So automatically this data will have only respect with that data only.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah, Kabir.
So I am just reverting back those changes so that later on you can, anyways, even if I activate the same, not an issue. I'll activate the same. Here also I'll activate the same. So remember that the total restriction length of this LV where clause with respect to a particular select options variable, whatever you are declaring here, is 1333. So if it exceeds this, it is not going to take as of now. As of now, the restriction is 1333. Okay, so one important point that I wanted to say here is that here I can achieve the same by using the concept of your partitioning as well here. Okay. So Vimla, for the just for the time being, I am commenting this out. I'll write the entire code and show you all.
Okay, sir. I think one more line.
I'm not getting your point, Vimla.
No, that one more line also you need to comment. Written is there, line
Yeah.
19.
Yeah, because I use this written. After this, I'll write the code. So first of all, suppose just I need the data. So select. So suppose a dot mandate. Then your a dot I need Matner mandate, then Matner, then your b dot maktx and c dot mtbez. A dot mandate, Matner, mktx and c dot mtbez. So I'll have to pass this as client material and fine. So c.mtbz. Now I'll use one concept. Look here carefully, the partitioning that I used to tell. So row number over here partition by a dot Matner, b dot maktx, order by c dot mtbz, ascending row num. So lt mara as a inner join your MAKT as B. So I did empty Mara as A inner join instead of as also I don't need it. MAKT B. Now that I have passed join both this, I'll specify the join condition on A dot mandate equals to B dot mandate and A dot Matner equals to B dot Matner. Again inner join T134T. Yeah, T134T C on A dot matad equals to C dot matad and C dot trash equals to P underscore trash, where P dot trash equals to P trash. Now I did this. Now order by Matner, and here also I'll put this. Now on top of this, what I'll do, return select. So this you are specified as client, right? So MANDT as client, comma Matner I can specify as material. Matner as material, and rest is same, MAKTX and MTBZ. MAKTX, comma MTBZ, MTBZ from where row num equals to 2. So guys, did you understand what I tried to do here? From this part to this part. Anyone, did you understand?
No.
Any guesses? Who is this?
This is Kiran.
Okay, hi, Kiran. Anyone? Did anyone understand? Chandra also did not understand. Danny understood, right? Okay, Danny also did not understand. Sanskriti, Vimla, you all understood? Anyone understood?
No, no, Kabir. If you could explain.
Yeah, I'll explain. I just wanted to understand if anyone understood what I did.
Especially this line number 33, like line number.
Yeah, that's why I told you ki please work on this assignment. That's why I wanted to show on
Yeah,
top
I
of
couldn't
this.
work on
Because
it actually.
no, not an issue.
Yeah.
Why I wanted to show this is like, see, this requirement you can anyways handle through this. But sometimes some requirements will come. See, some requirement comes, right, where you can group that data. Suppose example, Sanskrit, suppose you get a requirement wherein from a particular, for a data, there are 5 records with respect to date and time. Now the requirement is that with respect to the highest date and the highest time, you need the record, right?
Okay.
Getting the point?
Yes.
So now what do you do? Well, now earlier what we used to do, we used to write a lot of sub queries, right? First get the maximum date, then again get the maximum time on the basis of that date and all, right?
Yes.
I'm just talking about ABAP SQL, okay, right? Now, otherwise what you will do, suppose if you get all the data, you will do read table index 1, right?
Yes.
Now, what I can do is, rather than doing all these things, I will try to group everything together. Okay. Now suppose, first let me show you through debugger what I basically mean is. So suppose, let me just activate the code. So this is this thing. Vimla, I'm using your objects, not an issue, right?
No problem, Kabir.
Yeah, okay. I'll first put a breakpoint here. So one thing, when you debug this CDS table function, one thing that this CDS table function you won't be able to debug, because in CDS also you cannot debug. Since it's implemented by this AMDP function, you will be able to debug the AMDP function. That's why I put a breakpoint here. And if you see when I'll call this, so first let me put a breakpoint here. Okay, so I'm here. So I'll do an F6 here. Now let us see the where clause which got generated. So if you see the where clause is mandate equals to 800 and Matner between these two numbers, right? Okay. Now let us check the system compatibility. So the system compatibility LV underscore flag. So LV underscore flag equals to X. Now let's move ahead and now let's do an F5. So since I did an F5 here, F7, yeah, so the debugger got triggered to my AMDP class method. So now let's see if I apply this filter on Mara, what happens at this stage. So now let us check the Mara records. So here I got the data like this. Now first let me show what is happening when I am doing this. So if I do F8 now, so it's showing the data like this. So now to handle this, what I'll do, I'll try to break this up for you so that you can understand what actually I'm trying to do. I'll close this. I'll close this. So here, first I'll try to show you this query. So Control C. So suppose LT underscore data 1 equals to this. Okay. What is the mistake that we did?
Return.
Oh, yes. Return is, I have. Yes. So just to break this up, I have put it here. Okay, just to show you. After that, I'll go to this part. Fine. So once you do any changes, just make sure that you activate the MDP debugger, because the MDP debugger gets deactivated, and now MDP debugger has been activated. Fine. Okay, so it came here. So LT Mara, I got this data. Fine. Now LT data 1. Look here carefully. I'll just open LT data 1. So guys, can you see LT data 1? The data how it is coming? Wait. So Kiran, Sanskriti and all, can you see what, once I have done this part, what is the grouping of data you are getting? So see here what I did. I did row number over partition by a.matner and b.maktx. Okay. So if you see, these two are remaining constant, right? If I group the data on these two remains constant, this keeps on changing. Okay. Just to give you a heads up. These two remains constant. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to do a partition by on the basis of Matner and maktx. Okay, and I am doing the ordering, as in the sorting of data on this c.mtbz, as in this ascending. Okay, now once I've sorted the data in this way, the data comes in this way, right? Now since I needed this type of output, this finished product with along with the material type, description and the material type. So which row number it is? It is in row number 2. So that's why if you see here in this query, once I get the data from here, this is my inner select query. Okay, now this is my inner select query. From this, what data I need? I need Matner, mandate as client, because it is mandatory, since I have to pass and map the data. If I don't pass, it will show me an error. So mandate as client. Why client? Because the name in the CDS table function was client. Matner as material, maktx I need, mtbz I need. Now I need to filter the data on the basis of the row number. That's why I give where row number equals to 2. Now is it clear, guys, what I did?
Yes, Kabir, it's clear.
Nice. This is like delete adjacent duplicates in ABAP. Right?
Yes. And I am telling you this concept, you please make a note of this. This concept comes very powerful and is very handy rather than writing lines and lines of code at your ABAP layer. If you are making use of MDP, remember this concept is not applicable at your modern ABAP OpenSQL. Okay, as till now, this is not yet applicable. This is applicable only with respect to your native SQL. So please make a note that this should not be written on your modern ABAP OpenSQL. This should be written only with respect to your native SQL. Second point, whenever you get a very complex requirement that you have to sort the data with respect to date, time, grouping, this and blah blah and all, remember, just copy paste this code, accordingly change the parameters here and do the order by. One more thing, if you want to do order by on 2-3 values here, order by c.mtb, order by field 1 ascending, then comma whatever it is, like suppose field 2 descending, comma field 3, this, accordingly the grouping will be done. So you can play around with these variables and you can play around with these variables. Whatever field names and the column names you want to change, play around, get the data. Now as per the requirement, if you have got the data as in the first row of record as your data that you need, you give row number equals to 1. Why I gave 2? Because I got my required output in my row number 2. So this becomes very handy to write such complex requirements. There is only one related to FERT. Danny, I didn't get your point. Can you please speak up? So, okay, why you are getting this doubt? Because see here, when Vimla used on MA entity condition, because this is a cross-line table. So it is giving me 2 data. If you don't use this mandate, no, leave apart all these things. Just don't give this join condition as mandate equals to mandate. You will get this type of output only. Getting my point, Danny?
Yeah, Kabir, that record number 1, you have 2 records per material number.
Record number 1?
Yeah, so you have a material number 17 and then material number 19. So when you do the inner join, so I'm expecting you're going to get only 2 records, which is material number 17, material number 19, which is the finished product work, and then finished product ROH.
Right. Why somebody, I think this got terminated. Just a second. Yeah, now tell. So I think somebody tried to log in or something. So what I'm trying to say is, when I am using a T14343 table, right? This is a cross-line table. This is not my normal the client-specific table. This is a client-independent table. Now, when I am trying to do an inner join, if you don't specify mandate, here also you will get the same type of issues. 2 record starts coming from the database. One along with the description and one without description.
Okay.
Getting the point, Danny? So that's why in your on condition also, when I asked you, did you use the same approach? You told, right? You use the same approach. Just try to remove the statement. So Vimla, initially when you had tried to build this, did you try by seeing that if you remove this on condition, it was giving the output like the same, right?
Yeah, initially I didn't give the mandate, so it shows to do record.
It was giving you 4 outputs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you understood the point, Danny?
Yeah.
So just to show this in a different approach, I use this part. Now I'll just again remove this part. So now LT data 1, why you don't need? Because directly I can write a query like this. Return select this as this from the inner select query where row number equals to 2. So that's why I now broke it up. First, I just to show you, I put it under LT data 1. You could have used select mandate as client, this as this from colon LT data 1 where this. But why do I do this if HANA is giving me this feature? So use this thing. No. Do a select query from again an inner select query and then put a where row number. That's it. Your requirement is done. So everybody is now clear about this concept, right? How to use the partitioning concept if you want to do a grouping of data and get any particular row number, whether row number 1 or a last row number or a particular row number. It's clear to everyone, right? Okay, so I hope that now in your project requirements you use this concept to deal with your complex requirements. Okay? Fine then. So I hope in any other question you did not have any doubt. Can you debug a table function? Okay, one thing. So guys, can you tell me, can you debug a table function? Can you debug a CDS table function directly? Any answers? Can I debug a CDS table function? So I'll just show you. Suppose here in the requirement, this is Vimla's AMDP function script logic is here, right? And this is your AMDP CDS table function. Just do an F8 here. It will ask you for the parameter values. You pass E, and here you need to pass that where condition. So I'll just show you. So I'll just generate the where clause first. So if I generate the where clause, use this Control C, now let me close this, let me close this, let me close this. Now go to your CDS table function, execute the same, pass the value here. See, directly pass your LV where clause value here, and it will trigger your breakpoints, and ultimately when you are done with your debugging, the value comes here. See, that's it. Getting the point? If you want to debug, so in this way, if you have your where clause, just get your where clause, pass the same, and you can debug the same. So any further doubts related to yesterday's concepts or anything related to assignment? Any doubts, guys? Okay. Which point do you want to show me, Vinayak? Nothing. I'll just show you from the CDS table function. I'll execute like how you execute your CDS views. Okay. Pass the value here, as in pass the where clause here. The LV where clause is a part of the string which you generated. Pass it here. The debugger will be triggered, and do F8. See the data here. That's it. Okay. Any other doubts? Anyone? Or should we start with today's topics? Anyone, any other doubts? I'll just, okay, Sanskriti says no. Fine then. So I just take it as no further doubts. Then let's start with today's topic. So how is it that the string gets concatenated? String gets concatenated through this approach. So Aldo, anyways, I'll be showing this again with AMDP, how to handle select options in AMDP. At that time, I'll show you. You will get the point. Okay. So before we start today's topics, one thing which I wanted to show you yesterday, which I didn't get. So in your respect, now what happens as a part of your S4HANA, a lot of your standard database tables becomes read-only, and instead of that, a lot of replacement objects has been given so that you can fetch the data from those replacement objects rather than fetching the data from those standard tables. Example, I'll just give you one example so as to get a better clarity. Go to SE11. Suppose the database table is Mara. Now go to extras. There is a category called replacement object. Click on this. Sorry, not on Mara. Go to yes, MSEG. Sorry, I forgot. For MSEG, if you go to your extras and replacement object, you will find your replacement object here. Okay. So standard replacement objects, how SAP has given the nomenclature is NSDM_E_MSEG is your DDL source. Example, how do I make you understand is, directly try to give NSDM underscore E underscore MSEG. So suppose extras replacement object, pass it here. See, this is your DDL source, NSDM E underscore MSEG. And do you see here SAP has also gone with the nomenclature wherein they have kept their DDL source and their CDS view entity name as the same. So as I was telling you that for most of the cases for the replacement objects, SAP has given this nomenclature, NSDM underscore, instead of E, they have replaced it with B. So close this. If I go back, and normally if you want to search from here rather than going to your ADT, suppose if you have not opened up ADT, here also if you see NSDM underscore DDL underscore MSEG, can you see here? So here NSDM underscore DDL MSEG is your DDL source and define view NSDM E underscore MSEG. So if I open up again your MSEG table, extras replacement object. If you find any replacement object, they have given a CDS view as its replacement object. Now, so wherever you are using to fetch the data from MSEG, rather than that, if you are working on S4HANA systems, make it a habit to fetch the data from the CDS views rather than your database tables. So this is the very important point, one more point which I wanted to tell you all yesterday. Like how to use your replacement objects which are given by standard SAP, because they have started creating CDS views for most of their standard database tables. Is this point clear, guys? How to make use of the replacement objects and how to search for the same. And suppose if any one of you are working on upgrade projects, as in if your client or if your organization is implementing S4HANA, so this concept will be very much more important. Why? Because suppose example like the sales table becomes PRCTR underscore elements. Okay, just show you. So KUNV, not KUNV, I think KONV. See here, this KONV table gets replaced by PRCT underscore elements table. Okay. Most of the old big indexed and those tables will have your this thing. If you see here, not here the indexes are not there. Earlier a lot of tables had got indexes and all, right, Danny? So a lot of those tables which had indexes, pools and all those things, a lot of those tables has been replaced and they have merged into one table. Like your AC Doka. AC Doka is a merger of a lot of small tables and everything into one big table. Similarly, your PRCD underscore elements. So what I was trying to say you is that if you go to KONV, here also you will find your extras. KONV here, it's not there, but there is a B underscore KONV and all is there. Okay. Yes, see here, the data definition V underscore KONV, can you see? So if in case if there was certain functionality and with respect to the requirement that you are having, which was having the functionality from your KONV tables, just blindly do not go and replace the same with PRCD underscore elements. Some of the functionality will stop working. So to make it compatible, try to use in most of the cases whatever your DDL source SAP has provided. If DDL source is existing, first priority should be given to your DDL sources to make the requirement compatible as it was earlier. You're getting the point? So try to make use of that DDL source which is there. In case if there is nothing, then go with the replacement, with the replaced as in the new standard table which has come up. Otherwise, go with the DDL source. So these are the 2 points which I wanted to communicate to you all. So if you want to enhance the CDS which uses a replacement object, suppose example, I'll just wait, let me recall an example. Okay, yeah, a very good example. Suppose now this is Marcy table, okay, plant data for material. Now if I open, now for this Marcy, if I open this replacement object, there is a DDL source. Now if you get a requirement that you need to add a field just to Marcy table, now remember very well this point, that first of all check to whatever fields as in the Z fields or you want to add to your database tables, check whether it is having a replacement object or not. If it is having a replacement object, you cannot just go and blindly add your Z fields to your database table, because you will get an error. Why the error? Because this database table is also compatible with this replacement object. Now you have added the fields here, but what about the fields of this part? So again, the yesterday's concept that I showed you, you need to extend the standard CDS view, and the append view which will get added, append view will take care of the SQL view. So you need to apply both the concepts. You need to use your conventional ABAP as in the enhancement of the standard table by using the append structure, and the concept which I showed you yesterday as in the extension of the standard CDS view. Then only it will be compatible for both the perspective. Did you get the point, Danny? How to handle those type of requirements if a particular database table has the replacement object? Yes, we need to apply for both. The concept which we learned yesterday and the concept that we have been doing since long. Any doubts with respect to this replacement object and all? I think it should be clear. These 3-4 important points which I told you. It's clear, guys? Okay. Fine then. So today we will be handling like the DCL concept with respect to CDS, as in how do we link a CDS view with the authorization rules. Similarly, like how do we handle select options with your CDS table functions and implemented with AMDP functions. Similarly, the select options can be directly handled in AMDP as well. How to update records using AMDP, okay, as in it's sometimes it's a very common requirement, as in you want to update a large pool of records. And last, OpenSQL, CDS or AMDP, which one to use and in which favorable situation. So first of all, like linking a CDS view with authorization rules. Okay guys, now one question to you. When it comes about authorization object and all these things, what is the concept that you have been using in ABAP till now? What is the concept that you have been using in ABAP till now? Can anyone answer? Not authority statement, an authority check statement, right? Yeah, Danny, PSCG roles. So one is authority check statement, other is PSCG roles. Yeah, so if you see for conventional ABAP, we had been using the basis team. We sometimes we use the standard authorization objects, and sometimes we create our own custom authorization objects and give it to the basis team so that they can map it to PSCG. And otherwise, if we want to explicitly write at the ABAP coding level, then we make use of this authority check statement. So this was the concept that we till now used to follow from your ABAP perspective. But if you see, when it comes to your CDS and all these things, everything is done at the database level, right? What do you say? And whenever you are writing a code like authority check and all these things, you can even skip the same by debugging, right? Yes or no? You can skip the same by debugging, and anybody can get access to anything if he or she knows debugging, right? But what about the database then? Suppose do you see any link between data and authorization objects? No, right? Anybody can get access to any kind of data, right? If there is no such authorization object concept, then anybody can get access to any kind of data. And even many people can bypass the debugging and get any kind of skip those authorizations and all. Yeah, payroll tables. Mostly people are interested when it comes to salary, right? Which table is holding how much salary of each and everyone, right? What do you say, Danny? So all the authorization checks till now been handled at the application level. Okay. So when we are trying to say that we want to link your serious view with authorization rules, that means we will be putting some control on at your database level. So if you look at this diagram very carefully, this figure basically shows you the basic principle of your CDS access control. As in, if I say DCL or CDS access control, it means the same. So there is a new repository called the data control language or the DCL source, or as I was saying, the serious access control, which defines a serious role. DCL source defines a serious role. There is a keyword called define role, which will basically define a serious role, and what it does is it will relate the serious role to one or more serious views by specifying this grant select on the serious views and all, and the condition that you want to apply, you can filter out the data by using this keyword where. So whenever an ABAP program will try to access the serious view which has got a particular serious role which will grant access the restriction of the data with respect to this where clause and all. So whenever you are trying, whenever an ABAP program is trying to access this serious view, this DCL as in this role will come into picture, and it will automatically filter the selection result according to this access conditions. So a very important point that you should make a note of is that the serious access control will only work if the program accesses the serious view directly. If you are trying to access the serious view in another serious view, then this access control will be ignored. Please make a note that whenever you are trying to consume this serious view directly in your ABAP program, just remember this picture. ABAP program directly consuming a serious view, you can apply this concept of DCL wherein the data will be accessed as per this access conditions. But if you are trying to use the serious view rather than in an ABAP program in a serious view again, then this concept will not come into picture. Now let me show you by creating DCL. So for creating a DCL, the first serious view that you created, can any one of you give me one of your serious views? Can any one of you give me your serious view? The first serious view, where when we created char ID, con ID, we use the semantics. We had used the semantics also, the quantity. Can any one of you give me the name of your serious view with respect to that? As in, I am telling about this. I'll just show you which serious view I am referring to. The first one, sorry, not this one. Yeah. Can anyone give me their serious view? Because I want to create on your objects. Anyone? Are you guys there? Am I audible, guys, or we have lost the connection? Guys, are you there? Can anyone give me their serious view? Okay, great. So Danny gave. Thanks, Danny. Okay, first let's analyze the data. Why I was asking for that? No, actually that is called grouping of data. Okay, I'll take Sanskriti's one. Sanskrit, is this the right name? ZM75 CDS LUN. I think it's underscore. Okay, fine. I'll show on this only. But I won't get grouping of data here. Yes, I'll take this one. This is right. Fine. So now first let me show you what I mean. So if you see here, suppose this is what I was meaning, like the grouping of data I'm getting. Okay. Now suppose Danny should not have access to the data with the carrier ID AA. Okay. And Danny also should not have access to the data with the carrier ID JL. But suppose if Danny is trying to fetch the data from the CDS view, now he will get the data from all the data. He was getting AA data also and JL data also, but which is wrong, as he should not have access to this kind of data. So now how do we handle this? So what we will do, we'll now create a CDS role for this. So for CDS role, type here access. So as I told you, core data services access control under the DCL repository. Now Z DCL Now here, normally we use these two, either role with a symbol condition or role with a PFCG aspect. I'll show you first this and then we will go to the other one. So here, if you see this, automatically template gets generated. So first of all, as I was telling you, grant select on CDS entity name. So suppose this is my CDS entity name. So put the condition here. Now this PFCG aspect will go later. So where entity underscore element 1 equals to the literal value. So if you do control space, so career underscore ID. Here, though the field value is char ID, but he has specified as career underscore ID. So I'll use the career underscore ID here. So career underscore ID, what he should not be applicable to, he should not have access to data as career underscore ID equals to AA, and you can have more than one conditions as well. And career underscore ID not equals to, suppose the data preview, let me again run the data preview, jail. Not equals to jail. Okay. Now add the role mapping at the rate mapping role equals to true. This basically maps the role. This has got two values, true and false. True and false. But if you give false, it will not support. See, it will throw an error that DCLs without the annotation at the rate mapping role true only are supported. See, DCLs without the annotation at the role at the rate mapping rule true are not supported. So if you give false, it will not support. So as of now, only true is supported. False is not supported at all. Okay, you have to you can only specify true. You cannot specify false. Second point, this define word is optional. So even if I remove this, first let me activate this. So this got activated now. Okay. Now this define word keyword is optional. If I remove this, see here, I'll not get any error. This word is optional. Main thing is role and this one. Okay. So now I'll activate this. Now let me run this. Okay. So now can you see here the data related to AA and JL is gone. Can you see? Now if any one of you runs this thing, so anyone if you run this CDS view, get the data preview, you will not be getting the data for AA and your JL. If you see, the data for AA and JL is gone. There is no data for AA and JL. So one important point is that this is applicable for all users. Why it is applicable for all users? When I give @mapping role as true, this value is true, this implicitly assigns this role for all the users. Otherwise, the basis team has to assign this role. Since this role is not assigned, so implicitly this is applicable for all users as of now. Okay, false is not supported, only true is supported. The define keyword which you see here is optional. This is your role name. This CDS role name can be same as your DCL source or it can change it, but it's recommended that you can try to keep it same. So this one is your CDS role. Now coming back to your main CDS view here, access control dot authorization check. Now if you see, if I write here, suppose if I write hash check not allowed, suppose if I write not allowed. Okay, now what does this not allowed means? That there are no authorization check applicable, but here not allowed will not come into picture because already I have created a CDS role for the same. So that's why either for such a scenario, for a particular CDS view, if you have got a CDS role, then you can either give hash check or hash not required. Hash check means that you need to perform the authorization check. That you need to perform the authorization check with respect to your CDS role. And second point was, instead of hash check, you can give not required as well. It will also behave like hash check only, but if suppose if a role is not assigned, it will not throw any warning. Right now what is happening, the CDS role is not assigned to anyone, right? So that's why you are not able to see any warning and all. Otherwise what will happen, if you give here hash check, then it checks that whether it is assigned to any user or not. So and suppose if you you get a syntax warning that it is not assigned to anyone, then you can give hash not required as well, so that it will suppress the syntax warning. And although if a CDS view has got a particular CDS role created by a DCL and you don't want to perform any authorization check, you can pass it as hash not allowed only. Hash not allowed. And privileged one is only restricted to certain users only. Normally we will not use this. We will go with either hash check, not allowed or not required. So for the time being, I'll put hash check here and again. So as I told you, I'll repeat the same. @mapping role equals to true. This will implicitly assign this role to all the users. Define keyword is not mandatory, it is optional. You can even remove the same. And here, now coming back to this condition, this access conditions. From here, the access condition starts. So there are two variants to it. Either I can use a particular literal as I'm showing here. I've used a literal to restrict the data only to these values. That is where carrier ID not equals to A and carrier ID not equals to JL. Similarly, I can use the PFCG authorization objects as well. How do I use it? I'll show you. So where inside bracket whatever column name as in the element list you had, where carrier underscore id equals to aspect pfcg underscore auth, automatically it will come. Now the standard authorization object for the carrier id is s underscore char id. So you pass the same. Now s underscore char id has got the field name as char id and activity equals to 03. Okay, if you want to know how did I use the same, I'll show you through here. Go to SU21 and search for this authorization object s underscore char id, and now if you open this up, I searched. If you double click on this, see here the authorization field char id and activity. Okay, so similarly in that aspect only I use the standard authorization object, as in from the PFCG perspective. The respected permitted values are activity. If you see there, the permitted values for activity are 03, 02 and 01. So I've used only for display, not to change, because from CDS they can only display. So these two doesn't make sense. So only display, and char id, whatever value you will pass here, it will automatically go and check against the same. So in this way you can pass the PFCG conditions as well, which are based on your authorization objects, and they fit into more of your authorization concept as we have done in ABAP till now. So the one more important point is that this one PFCG condition is always based on only your one authorization object. One authorization object equivalent to one PFCG condition. Do not give more than one. Okay. And suppose here under this authorization object, as a part of the permitted your authorization fields, suppose you had more than one authorization field, suppose char id, con id, blah blah, whatever it is, airport from airport example. So you can give commas, carrier id, connection underscore id, here again comma, con id and so on. So with respect to an authorization object, only only one PFCG condition. Second point, if for a particular authorization object, the permitted activities are as in the fields whatever you are mapping here are more than one, then you can provide commas and map the same. So suppose comma connection underscore id, and here also comma con id or whatever is the permitted values. So in this way you can use a PFCG object to map the values of your same. So earlier how we used to write, like authority check object s underscore char id, id char id, then field whatever value you used to pass, and then id activity field 03. So rather than writing all those things that we used to write in ABAP, directly at your CDS role definition, you can use this PFCG object as a part of your where condition. Either you go for literal or either you go for the PFCG condition. So in this way you can handle the same. So guys, this up to this point, is it clear how to handle DCL? And normally we will make use of this PFCG conditions more, because what happens is that as a part of your requirements, normally when how we create authorization budget PFCG, similarly we will map the same. So whatever view fields are there on the left hand side, those will be assigned to the fields of the authorization object on the right hand side. Okay. Up to this point, is it clear, guys? Any doubts? Let me open up. So I have unmuted you all. If anyone wants to ask anything with respect to this DCL, they can unmute themselves. Yeah, I showed you, right? Company code and plant using PFCG IMC. So suppose if you have got more than one condition, you add the conditions. You add the conditions here. That's it. You can apply. This is only one condition with respect to one authorization object. Suppose if you have got more than one condition, then you apply this thing. No, apply one more where condition. Or if you have got more than one columns, comma, pass your column name and use your authorization object you have. Got it? You apply an AND condition here, and again suppose if you have got a different authorization object, use the same one PFCG condition with respect to one authorization object. So suppose if you have got a different authorization object, and suppose whatever it is, pass the second authorization object. Got the point, MC? How do you handle? Yes. So another important point is that in a same CDS role, you can grant to multiple CDS views as well. As in, what I mean is, see, grant select on this. Okay. Now after this, again, if I want, I can write like here, grant select on another CDS view name where condition. So if you want to create one role and you want to grant access conditions with respect to 3-4 CDS views at one go, everything has to be written within these two braces. This is the first point. Okay. Second point, grant condition delimiter is this semicolon. This is mandatory. This is mandatory after each grant statement. So you can have multiple grant statements in your CDS role. So you want to grant select with respect to some conditions on your different CDS view, grant select on your CDS view, add a where little condition or a PFCG condition. And if you have multiple conditions with respect to one CDS view, you can use either AND or OR. That's it. Up to this point, is it clear? Anyone wants to ask anything? MC, it's clear now? Kiran, clear, right? Sanskrit Kabir,
I have one question. So if someone implements all these authorizations and it is restricting my CDS view, and if I want to troubleshoot back, meaning where all someone wrote these roles, how can I figure that out?
So see, what did I tell you here? Where did it go? This access control dot authorization check. See, right now we will not get the real feeling of this because we don't have a base system who's going to map this, right? So normally what happens if a particular CDS role is assigned to the CDS view, this annotation will come into picture. Hash check. Normally see, as an experienced developer, @access control dot authorization check hash check only comes into picture if you have assigned a CDS role for the same, or you have assigned a CDS role but you want to restrict to something or the other. Otherwise there is no meaning of this annotation. You're getting my point, Kiran? Hello?
Yeah, this is Narendra.
Sorry, Narendra. So this is the first point by understanding from this annotation. Second point, if your basis teams assigns this authorization with respect to any users, if you remove this hash check, it will start throwing you a syntax warning. As I told you, right? It will throw you a syntax warning if this hash check is removed. Hence, to suppress it, we were using the other variants, right? So this annotation along with that combination will help you to understand whether this particular CDS is having a DCL CDS role to it and whether that role has been applied to any user or not.
Yeah, got it, Kabir. Okay. My question is, like, say I have access to this CDS view and I'm troubleshooting this one, and I have to figure out where that rules are written. That's where I'm coming.
So see that as I told you that basis team has to assign those rules, right? Even for your authorization object, if I don't write authority underscore check statement, are we able to debug the same? No, right? Hello?
Yeah.
Second thing, so what we do, when you execute this CDS view, if you go to SU53, it will clearly show you that what authorizations and all you are missing, right? Leave CDS view. Whenever you are executing any transaction, if you don't get any statement or if you are not able to do anything, what you do, you go to SU53, you see for your missing authorization objects, right?
Yes.
Similarly, same thing. It will show you in the SU53 the authorizations that you are missing. Getting the point?
Got it. Yep. Thank you.
How we use for ABAP? No, see, this is ABAP on HANA, but ultimately it's ABAP only, right? So our old time concepts will still come in to save us. And if you would have seen, whenever we miss authorization, what's the first thing that the system asks? Can you send us the snapshot of your SU53? Right?
Yeah. Got it, Kabir. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Kabir, I have a question actually. So where do you find the corresponding GCL object for the CDS view actually?
Till now we haven't explored in this part. Actually, in recipe documentation, they didn't find anything, and even in the part of recipe documents. But still, we are trying to see, because like CDS view we get under DDL dependency table.
Correct.
So this part still I am also searching in that aspect, because then it makes my life easier rather than going to this T code and blah blah and all those things and asking so many people, right?
Yep.
So till now I haven't yet got any such table.
Okay.
But if you even come across the same, you can do let us know. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Fine, then can we have a 2 minutes break before we move to handling select options in AMDP? So Stephanie, can you tell me which object are you trying to check with respect to your replacement object? Can you tell me the database table MSEG? So wait. Yeah, I'm getting it here. No, you are not getting it here or what? Stephanie? Did you do like this? Extras replacement object ASDP MSEG? Tell me one thing, are you going from here? Yeah, maybe some configuration change. Even if you go from here and if you pass MSEG here, go to display. See here, it will, if you do from here, it will not be at all helpful for you. Other thing that you can do is go to SE69. Normally here it used to come. See here, go here. Go to your SE69. Here it also shows your proxy object. Stephanie, the other one approach that you can try is go to your SE69 or SE16, whatever it is. Give your table name here. It shows if any object has got a proxy replacement object. It will show up here. It will show you the compatibility view for the same. Are you able to see the same through SE69? Just confirm. You should be able to see the same from here. So this is the two approach. Either you go from SE11 or directly put under SE16N. So similarly, if I change to Marcy, see here. Here also it will come. If you change to KONV will directly not show you the proxy replacement object. So then you have to refer to some notes or something. So directly some of the objects will show you the replacement objects which you have here. Yeah, same. It's the, see, basically the replacement object is your compatibility view instead of that database table. So that's why it is showing as your proxy object. Like suppose when you, suppose Danny is giving attendance on your behalf, he is giving a proxy for you, right? So similarly, that compatibility view is doing the job for you with respect to your database table. Is it clear, Stephanie? Sushil, everything will not show as a replacement of BSEC, as I told you. Don't try to relate with like QNB and PRCD underscore elements. Everything will not show in your system like it's a replacement of this. There are many notes and all which you have to refer to understand which all. AC Doka is basically a universal table which is not a replacement of a single table. It's a replacement of a lot of multiple tables. Similarly, like your MATLAB. So in that same way. Okay. No, Kiran, we don't need indexes in S4HANA system. With S4HANA, indexes are completely out of picture. We don't need indexes with respect to your HANA as a database on your S4HANA system. Those are the earlier ones. Earlier ones, they have not yet touched, but whatever new tables and all, if you see, you will not get any secondary indexes and all. Because already it's a columnar approach in SAP HANA, and you don't need the same. Already you have parallel processing and columnar approach. Fine then, let's move ahead to handling your select options in AMDP. So, how you had handled your select options with your CDS table function, similarly you can directly handle the select options with your AMDP as well. Here also the concept completely remains the same, that you will use apply underscore filter, so that this select options, whatever is there at your ABAP layer, it will be converted to your string where clause, so that you can use it for SAP ABAP for HANA system. Okay. So the restriction that you get here is that AMDP cannot take your select options as an input. So this is a very common difficulty which many developers face, is that while working with AMDPs, is that handling of select options parameters. And this is more of a much more common requirement than with respect to your CDS table functions. And the thing is that your AMDP class methods cannot take these select options as input directly, as we had discussed yesterday also. So the select options needs to be converted to your filter string using any of the approaches, but the most common approach, as we discussed yesterday, by using CL underscore SHDB cell tab, combined cell tabs. Okay, and once you have converted the same into a filter string, again I will reiterate the same, that you have to pass this filter string as an input parameter to one of the AMDP methods. And why you cannot directly use select options? Moreover, the answer is that select option is just an ABAP language construct. which cannot be directly executed on the database level. That is the primary reason why you cannot handle select options directly. So you have to convert the same. So first step is you need to convert the select options parameters into a SQL where clause. The most common used method is through this approach by using this class and the static method CLSSDB cell tab combine cell tabs. Now let me show you with respect to one example that I had already built. I'll close this. Yeah. Not this one. Just give me a second. Yep. The report name is okay. So someone had asked me this doubt as he had not understood this concept. I think Aldo, right? You had only asked me the doubt, right? That you were not clear about this, how this where clause is getting generated, right? Right, Aldo? You had only asked me the doubt, right? Okay. So if you see here, this approach, CLSSDB cell tab, combine cell tabs. So again, I'll repeat whatever we discussed in the early morning today. So here, this IT name cell tabs will create your internal table, as in the range table, with respect to your select options. So here you need to pass I don't know, that we can discuss later. First, let us cover up the topics for today, and at the end of the session, I'll again and make you understand that concept. Okay. So here I'll again reiterate. Suppose since all the select options are related to my same table EKQ, so I have passed Evelyn and Bucharest here, and here you need to pass your select options variable name, whatever you have specified here. So CLSD cell tab, combine cell tabs, here pass your field name, here pass your select options variable name, and here pass your IV client field as mandate, so that your entire where clause gets generated considering your Bucharest, your Evelyn and your mandate. Now what I have tried to do here is that by passing the select options data as in the purchase order number and the company code, I want to get certain PO details from this AMDP method by passing the select options. So let me navigate to this AMDP class. So here what I am trying to get is, I am trying to get the purchase order number, company code, document type, vendor, purchase group, vendor name, and the created on. So what I am trying to do here is that is what do you say, the purchase organization name, there's in the vendor name, sorry, this vendor name I will be getting from Wood 000 table. So from EKKO table I am getting the purchase order number, company code, document type, and the vendor and the purchase group, and from my Wood 000 table, on the basis of this vendor I'll get the vendor name. And other important point is that the created on I want to pass in a particular specific format as in dd.mm.yyyy. Okay, so this is my requirement. So what I am trying to do, I'll pass the data with respect to my select options from my report. This I've created my where clause here. This where clause I'm passing to this AMDP class method as my importing parameter, and I will get the data here. Okay, now if you go back to my AMDP class method, this is the initial types declaration that I have done as I told you with respect to my requirement. Now here importing, here you need to pass your filter condition. So imp underscore filter, this will be of string type and whatever I want to export. Now here if you see, first thing is apply filter concept. Whenever you want to apply, this filter will work only if this EKQ and this condition matches with respect to all the columns. Suppose if by mistake as a part of this where clause you add such a column which is not at all existing in EKQ, now you guys answer me, will this apply filter work or it will not work? If EKQ, any such column is specified as a part of your where clause string which does not exist in EKQ, it will work or it will fail. So Aldo says it will fail. What about the others? Yes, it will fail. So you make sure that you don't pass any field which is not applicable there. Okay, this apply filter you can apply any number of times. You can apply suppose directly on EKQ. You can even apply on LT result 1 suppose after that. So this apply filter can be either on a database view or your database view or your internal tables, whatever your local internal tables you are creating here. So you keep what the general recommendation should be. You should first apply all the filter on your data so that the load reduces here. Otherwise, what you would have done, you first get the data and then you apply filter. But then when you are trying to do this select query, you are trying to do a select query in a large amount of data. So first recommendation is do wherever filter is possible. Do the filter wherever it's possible. So first filter the data, reduce the data set, then apply all your select queries and all your complex logic. So if there are two select options, EKQ and EKPO, suppose LT result 1 contains EKQ and LT result 2 contains EKPO, apply filter EKPO, IMP filters 1, that's it. Got the point, Kiran? Suppose if there are two filters, EKQ and EKPO, so LT result apply filter EKQ, IMP filters, LT result 2 apply filter EKPO, IMP filters. And now when I am doing the join, I do the join on the basis of colon LT result 1, A inner join LT result 2, B. Did you get the point, Kiran? How to handle this if there are two different select options? Keep on doing apply filter, keep on doing apply filter. If you have got 8 tables, no, keep on doing apply filter. Filter the data first, then you apply whatever join and whatever manipulation you want to pass. Because already I have shown you that you can use this temporary variables to do all kind of complex calculation, everything. First filter out the data, no, and use this LT result 1, LT result 2, LT result 3. Keep on creating it. Keep on creating it until unless you reach the final output wherein you want to map it against your exporting output type. Clear, Kiran? Okay, now that I have applied the filter, now I want to map the data. So what I have done, A.Evelyn, again here if you see, here it has to map from here. So yeah, Danny, we will debug this. First let me explain the concept. So here PO underscore number, here I have given PO number, so obviously whatever names you have assigned it here, it has to map, that you are already aware of. So company code, document type, vendor, purchase group and name organization. And yesterday we understood this concept 2 varchar. So this date A.AEDAT is in dates format, that is YYYYMMDD. Now I want the format in dd.mm.yyyy. So yesterday I told you can specify the format here. Since this will be of a varchar type, so I am assigning it to created on 10 type char. So I will assign this here from LT result 1 as A, left outer join, boot 000 as B on vendor number and A dot mandate equals to B dot client. So in this way I am putting the join. Now let us debug the same ones. I'll need a purchase order number and booker is. Can anyone give me some set of data? Because I have to pass it to the select options, or otherwise, wait. Let's debug from here. It's been a long time that we debug from here. Okay. So somebody gave me 2, right? So now if I do F6, will be where? Yeah, Danny, see it came, no? I did not get your doubt. I think Danny or Aldo it was. Danny. Danny, we got this, see. So this is how my where clause got generated. So this is the beauty of this class. Directly copy paste this one. Just keep this code handy. Change as per your requirement, change your field names, change your select option variable. Have this, just copy paste this code. Just you need to change this and this. That's it. Nothing else. So now I'll pass this to your AMDP. Now under LT underscore result 1, I'll first apply the filter. I told you first I'll filter the data, right? So I did F6. Now when we did not get any data here, why? Maybe because with respect to such condition there is no data or what? Can anyone check with respect to that company code and all? There is no data. Okay. That company code doesn't have any data with respect to that situation. Wait. We'll first get some data and then we will pass the same. Yeah, there was no such data with respect to that company code. Such a horrible data is there in our tables. So 2, 3, 9, 4 and 4. Suppose let's pass Puma. Yes. Now see, your entire this data came. With respect to your Puma, when we pass the range from there, we got this entire data. Now do a F6 and check the ultimate output. So can you see the vendor name came and the created on date came in dd.mm.yyy. Now I do an F8 here and I go to my output. See here, purchase order number, company code, document type, the vendor, the purchase group. Since these two vendors are only there are two vendors. So accordingly the name came and the created on as per the format that I wanted. So in this way you can handle select options in your AMDP methods directly. So here there will no concept of a stable function and all those, because directly you can consume this AMDP methods in your ABAP objects. Since your AMDP functions you cannot directly consume, that's why the CBS stable function, the savior came into. So the more common requirement will be to handle AMDP select options with AMDP rather than your CBS table function, because this comes on a much more this thing, because when if suppose your requirement is to generate a very complex report as in showing the statistics and the data, then you can write all your complex logic here as a part of your SQL script here and pass the ultimate data here back to show your report output. So in this way you can handle the select options with your AMDP. So I'll reiterate, you need to handle with apply filter because AMDP cannot take select options as an input. So Stephanie, as I told you, CDS table function with parameters yesterday, as I told you, suppose there are 5 CDS views and out of which you have to use all the CDS views and also you need to pass select options as well. You cannot club AMDP with CDS, then you have to go with CDS only. So there you will pass CDS table functions along with the select options you will handle. You will get the data, you will model the data by combining the other CDS views and then ultimately will show the output. Getting the point, Stephanie? How do we differentiate from the same? Many requirements will come wherein you will make understand that CDS table function will be your savior. So see, it will get much more better clarity when we come to this point. When we come to this point, just wait for some time, you will get better clarity. So as I was telling, first apply filter, because select options directly cannot be used. You need to convert it to a string. Just remember this diagram. Select options needs to be converted into a string so that it can be used for SAP ABAP for HANA. And then two approaches. First, that conversion of select options by make use of this class. You can use any other approach as well. I am not limiting you to use this class only, but this is like what I suggest, and this is one of the preferred approaches. So use this class to convert it into a where clause, and second, pass this as an importing parameter and write your SQL script logic to get the output. Yeah, Ankit, yesterday we discussed by using CDS table function with AMDP functions. The same thing we have discussed yesterday, and early in the morning the solution that we were discussing with respect to the assignment. I think you would have missed the same. You got the point, Ankit? Yesterday we have discussed CD. Okay, you can go through the recording, not an issue. You go through the recording. It's very much, we have covered the same approach there by making use of CDS table functions along with AMDP functions. You go through the recording of yesterday. In case of any doubts, you get back to us, as in you can just ping your queries in the group and anybody can help you out. Okay. Now a lot of you people had doubts as in how do we handle this updation of records via AMDP. So almost all your code remains the same. Now only coming to the point wherein you need to handle your update code. So let me just show you the report which I had created. First, focus on this part. So Stephanie and all you people had a very common doubt that how do we update the data, as in multiple records I need to update inside a loop. So since I already told that AMDP is related to SQL script, and you cannot write any ABAP artifact code here, you cannot write anything. So how do we handle it? That you need to make use of this for loop here. Okay. So this is the syntax for I in 1 ... total count of records, do then end for, and inside this we write the code like this. So one more thing, instead of specifying this IV currency, the LV sales order and the LV currency code and all, if you are thinking that can I use this directly, this expressions here, no, it will not allow. Let me show you. If I just try to Control C, instead of sales order, if I just try to give this, now see, this feature is not supported. So when you are trying to update your database table and all, you can, inside that update statement, you are actually trying to access this table cell by using this type of statements. It will not be supported as a part of your SQL script. So you have to declare the variables. So if you see here, I have declared the variables here. You have to declare the variables in this way. Declare variable name and the variable type. So if you do control and space, here it will show you what all types it is supporting. Okay, here it will show you what all types it is supporting. So if you want to use any particular data element of ABAP, so $ABAP dot type and specify the data element here. You specify the data element here. And in case if you don't want to use any ABAP type and you want to generalize it, then you can use any of these out of this, like nvarchar, row, integer, date, anything. You can use the same here. So you have to declare the variables here, whatever variables you want to use. The delimiter is semicolon, which is mandatory. Once you have declared the variables, then you need to use your for here, pass the table cell values here in this way, like whatever temporary table or whatever name is there, dot column name or the field name, then inside your braces I. So once you have captured all these in a variable, then how we used to write our update statement in our ABAP, similarly update this, set this equals to this, this equals to this, where with respect to whatever fields you want to specify. And once you have done this, if you see here, once I have got it, let me activate the same. Once you have got the data here, there I'm checking whether there was any exception caught or anything as a part of your this thing, as a part of your AMDP method call. If there was no exception there, that is that if it was completely successful, then I'm doing a commit work here so that my record gets updated. And after that, however, you can write your logic. Yes, Stephanie, I have written commit work. No, that I am doing here because I need to be sure that my entire AMDP method call has been successful. Suppose if you do it here and if anything fails, then it will go for a toss. So you handle everything here. If your entire AMDP method, because you are pushing your entire code to your ABAP on HANA, right? You're pushing your entire code to your database. So, sorry. So once you get the data here, you do, if I don't get any exception or anything, see, I try to catch the exception and I'm trying to get the message. If the message is completely blank, that means that the entire call was successful. I do a commit work here. And after that, however, I want to manipulate. So let me show you from debugger perspective once. See, if you should avoid putting commit in the class here, AMDP class. let it update and execute everything, then you do a commit if everything is successful. Do it back after your call. So now I put a AMDP breakpoint here, restart AMDP debugger. So AMDP debugger has been activated. Now let us debug the same from SCP GUI. Jasmine, my simple question to you, AMDP is HANA related code or ABAP related code? Can you please answer me? AMDP is HANA related code, right? So can we use ABAP artifacts inside AMDP, yes or no? You got the answer, right? Jasmine, now you got the answer for your question? So this is the restriction with AMDP. You cannot use ABAP artifacts. So if you have to use a functional module within a loop, no, there is no other way out rather than to send the entire data here and then to loop it and then call that FM. You cannot call this FM here, except see BAPI is also like your FM only, right? So you will not be able to call this BAPI at your ABAP on HANA artifact. Okay, now let me show you through debugger. So my AMDP class is got triggered. So ET result before, let me execute the same. So this is my sales order ID, okay, and this is my gross amount which is still now unconverted, okay. Now this LT temporary data, I do an F6 here. So I pass this data from here and this F6 again I do here, LT converted data. So LT converted data if you see, so this is my ZZ converted gross amount, okay, and this is my currency code. Now ET result after if I do F6, now from LT converted data I am trying to do a count asterisk into LB underscore count. So if I do asterisk, so LB count will have sorry, LB count will have 10, number is 10, right? Now inside this for loop, let me show you first for one iteration at least. So the LV sales order from it came from the LT temporary data. So this entire temporary data, it came your LV sales order. I am assigning this here LT temp data dot SO underscore ID as 1. So if you see LV sales order got the first value, okay. Now come to the LV currency code. So LV currency code, LV temp data dot currency underscore code. So it came as USD. Now C for amount. Now amount, LV amount, amount as the gross amount converted. So gross amount converted, sorry, I am getting it from LT converted data. So LT converted data, I am getting it from gross amount converted. So I have mixed two tables here because I know that both are containing the same number of records. If both doesn't contain the same number of records, then you cannot write inside this for I, because this LV count will have the count with respect to temp data, sorry, converted data, and this temp data also I know that both has the same count of records. So if you see here LV amount, so LV amount is having the converted value here. Now I am updating a Z table here with respect to this my sales order ID and respect to my currency code, okay. Now I'll update the same. Now let me do an F8. So once I've executed everything here, I'll check whether this entire AMDP call was successful or not. Yes, it is successful. Do an F6, the commit work you did, and you do an F8. So if you see this is converted to INR and this is unconverted in USD, and this is your final updated database output. So if you see this now, if I go here, let us take one value, suppose 5003, okay, and let us check the same. So suppose let us send it wd underscore so. So see here, 5003, 4, 6, 7 till it was till your 12 and 13, right? So this all data got updated. This currency code and the total gross amount all got updated. So in this way you can do update. So it's just a reference. I showed 10 records. If you want to do a large processing of the records with very complex requirement, so simple approach should be what? I'll just show you. So inside this AMDP method, create two AMDP methods. Okay. First AMDP method you create for getting all your complex data. Now you call that AMDP method inside your another AMDP method where you want to do an update. So make one as private. You do all your complex coding in your private method, get your entire data in a single internal table as a part of your exporting table type. Then you call that AMDP method inside your another public AMDP method. Now since the public AMDP method will be called as a part of your ABAP program, now whatever you want to update you pass from there as an importing parameter. You get the data from your private AMDP method, use the same, use the for loop, declare the variables and update the same. So in this way you will be able to handle the complex logic and updation as well in your AMDP code completely. So in this way you can handle your updation of records. Is it clear, guys? Stephanie, now is it clear how you need to update if you want to update records with respect to your AMDP? So you understood the approach and the concept and what all, how you can handle the same? Anybody has any doubts up to this point? See, so Danny, suppose the table update that you will do, suppose example, I am your functional consultant. I want to tell you that before I update the records, I want to see the analysis of the data. Suppose there are 5 columns A, B, C, D and E. So A is my unique key. This B will be updated to C and D will be updated to E. But before updating this to B to C and D to E, I first want to analyze the data, and this A, B, C, D is coming from 4 tables. So now you tell me how will you handle this? Will you handle it at the ABAP layer? And that requires case and it's a complex report. And it also requires big tables like CDPOS, CDSDR, MATDoc and ACDOCA. Now you suggest me how do you handle this kind of requirement? Suppose in MATDoc there are 2 Z fields which I need to update based on the analysis of data from CDPOS, CDSDR, EKQ and MATDoc. Once I do the analysis and then will I update. So how will you handle? Will you prefer normal ABAP statement SQL codes or will you handle via your AMDP? Which one? So now you got your answer, right? How will the performance also be impacted? So in that same way, see, if you would have normally written at ABAP layer, AC to MATDoc and all those things and all, yeah, Kiran, you got the answer, right? So with such big tables, I'm normally doing the analysis, and the functional say that I first want to see the data. So first you will do for read, right? So entire fetching of data you will do for search, and from that, now I'm not going to again fetch the data for again updating it. I will use the same internal table, pass B and like for matching B and A, I will update C and E. Got the point? So that's why I will go with this type of like approaches rather than going with ABAP coding now. Give such a solution to your functional so that they also come back to you and say that yes, you did a remarkable job and I did not have to wait for updating. Normally what happens, we get certain one-time requirements to update certain data as a part of your, as a tool to create a report to update the data as a part of your such and such blah blah fields because some data got messed up. But then when they run those reports, normally they run it in the background or something, and it really takes a lot of time, right, Danny? What do you say? Sometimes it really takes a lot of time if I have to update 1 lakh or 2 lakh records, right? What do you say, Danny? So why do they have to wait for such a long, and why do I have to run it in the background when I have the power of AMDP? Why can't I use the same? Now go for it. Give them a better solution, because what they will feel is they will just get a better performance output and lesser time. But you ultimately know what is the exact logic that you used behind it. Okay, guys? So now your favorite. Many people of you have been asking me OpenSQL, CDS or AMDP. So Sanskriti and Vimla, doesn't this resemblance to everyone, like you people are surprised like which one to use at which condition? I'll just open up So Sanskriti and Vimla, just to ask you, don't your face becomes extra like puzzled up like this? Which one to use? Okay, not an issue. So I hope that by now we all have pretty good clarity that your CDS views, AMDP and OpenSQL are not competitors to each other, right? They are not competing against each other, right? I hope that this much is very much clear to you all. What about the others? So they all mutually help each other, or you can say explicitly help us to achieve the core to data paradigm shift that we all have been focusing on during this last 5 days. So to say you in one line, they are all different tools for the same team and they all can coexist. So suppose if in a cricket team there are 3 batsmen and all are superstars, okay, so all those 3 batsmen are a part of the same team, right? And they all have to perform so that the team can win. So similarly, they all are different tools for the same team and they can all coexist. Yes, but one point is that all these tools are used for fetching data from the database apart from AMDP, which can even update the data. So we have to use the appropriate tool based on the requirements. So simple statement I'll tell to everyone. Suppose if a needle can do your job, then will you worry about a sword? Yes or no? If a needle is able to do your job, will you worry about a sword? Yes or no? No, right? So simply, example, if as a part of your requirement, just by reading the data from your modern ABAP OpenSQL can do your job, will you bother about CDS and AMDP? Which one? Which one? If just a part of your modern ABAP SQL as in part of your fetching data can do your job, will you bother about CDS and AMDP? No, right? You will go with modern ABAP SQL, right? Similarly, if I now throw you a statement, so if I say that if the job can done only by the needle, then you cannot achieve the same result using the sword, right? So what I mean is, suppose if you know that you have to use certain specific HANA specific features like as I showed you, 2 varchar and all those things and all, like dummy and all. So if you know that only the needle can do the job, as in if you know that only you need to implement certain code which will be completely HANA database specific. So which one will you go for? Completely HANA database specific. Which one will you go for? AMDP, right? So that's why now in this case you will be go for AMDP. So I'll be saying you certain guidelines now which will easily help you to determine the most appropriate code to data technique. So first of all, with coming to CDS view, so you know that CDS view, there can be only one result set which can be written from a CDS view. So if you expect only a single result set from a CDS view, so you go for the CDS view as it is dedicated for a single set of logic. And CDS views amount to least amount of coding. Why? Because the reusability concept of CDS views should be used across developments. So suppose if Vimla has created a CDS view on a certain base logic and all, so Stephanie shouldn't go and write again that same CDS view. Rather, she should be using the Vimla CDS view which she created. So in another word, if I say the database, so it's like a database artifact that can be consumed across objects or applications, and only reading or processing the data at the database layer is feasible. Third point, interdependent SQL queries which will be used across applications or programs. Suppose Vimla is writing a code based on EKKO and all those things, and Danny also needs the same code. Now there is no point Danny again writing the same piece of logic. It's better that you use all those interdependent SQL queries from the same CDS view which Vimla created. Now this was about CDS. Now coming to AMDP, simple thing is that if your logic is not applicable for any other things, that is your logic. So if your logic is applicable only for your complex requirement that you have and it is not applicable for other cases, then you should go for AMDP. And also with respect to the point that you need to consider is that it should be HANA specific and all. So if you want to make use of those HANA features and all, and also if you want to return multiple result sets, any multiple result sets that you need, then you go for the AMDP. So always remember, if you want to return multiple result sets, go for AMDP along with the specific HANA database features. So these powerful features of the native SQL, such as we use currency conversion, date formatting, data fetching from your dummy system variable table, and all this and on, multiple case switch and cases and all. So all these native SQL specific features, if you want to use, go for your AMDP so that you can completely take the advantage of HANA's features, as in high-speed memory execution and parallel processing. So if you want to completely utilize SAP HANA as a database features, then go for AMDP. And finally, your OpenSQL, if the SQL queries that you are writing are for the specific object and they won't be needed anywhere elsewhere, okay? That's like you are writing just for fetching the data and it won't be needed anywhere elsewhere, as in it's not at all reusable, then go for OpenSQL. Okay, so see, I cannot tell there is an official guide to determine the order of precedence for code push down, but practically, as you see, with respect to the points that I just told now, always first go for either OpenSQL or CDS view. If you see that the requirement is very complex, and if you use the features of native HANA, wherein you need to use a lot of multiple joins, unions, your currency conversion, then your data manipulation, and all those things, go for AMDP. So when it comes to reusability, large feature set and domain specific consumption of data models, go for ABAP CDS. If CDS views and SQL can achieve the same functionality, if you are finding that while comparing CDS view and SQL can achieve the same functionality and you want to reuse the existing logic, then go ahead with the CDS view, which if it is already there in the system. If it's not there in the system, don't go for creating a CDS view because it will not be reused. So if your CDS does not exist and you need the SQL code and all only in program, do not take the hassle of creating a CDS view, because you will never be using this CDS view again in another application. So just go ahead and write your OpenSQL. So both OpenSQL and CDS, as we know, are open to any underlying database since they are database independent, and therefore they become the first choice. Okay, if still you are having any doubt, we can obviously refer to this flow diagram that I have attached here. So use OpenSQL if the database query requires no reuse, if there is no reuse, or CDS views if you have got reusable queries. So OpenSQL or CDS, based on that you can answer yes. If you find that still your code, and moreover the best part that you get is that your code will work on old database systems which will be supported by the ABAP stack. Okay, if you are not able to use either OpenSQL or CDS views, then go for your AMDP. So if the approach one does not suffice your requirement and you find it's complex and you want to use the power of HANA to get your solution done, then go to your AMDP. If again you find that AMDP also doesn't work for you, then because you don't have your HANA as a DB, then obviously your AMDP will not work, and the requirement is also complex. Then what you do, you can make use of native SQL code, but this is the worst case scenario. This, like, it's never recommended, but in the worst case, as in 0.001%, if neither of the approaches, one or two uses, then you can make use of the proxy objects or your ABAP database connectivity. But there are a lot of drawbacks, so this third point I never recommend. Don't go for this. Now most of the requirements, 99.99% of the requirements, you can manage through these points 1 and 2. So in this way, with this flow diagram, you can easily get your answer. So one last point that I will need to add from my side is that before we close at the end of this day, whichever one works best for your project, team and application, use it. It's just a guidance that we can give. But at the end of the day, it's your call, as in whichever works best for your project, team, and as per your application requirement, go for that. Because if you see, the end user would not see any difference in the usability and the result if you give him the best, if him or her, the best output and the best performance. It is all about the maintenance and the knowledge of your technical team members and the efficiency and the performance with respect to that application that we have built. So finally, I'd like to conclude by saying that with all these tools such as your CDS views, CDS table functions, OpenSQL, AMDP, it allows the developers to really renovate their existing assets and their codes and to create new and innovative applications from SAP S/4HANA perspective without losing the platform independence of ABAP. Over to you now, guys.
Hey, Kabir, how do you find if there is any existing CDS view, satisfies my requirement?
I did not get your question.
No, how do you, where do you find CDS, existing CDS, available so I can reuse that?
Today I showed you the replacement objects and all, right? So suppose earlier if you are using the MSEC, KONB and all those MARCI and all as a part of your complex requirements, now rather than using those tables, start directly making use of your replacement objects as in your standard CDS views. Refer to your standard CDS views.
Correct. That is one way, but you said, right, if somebody is already written some CDS view, satisfies 90%.
Example, suppose normally you will be creating Z CDS views also, right? It's not that always they will be standard, right? So suppose as a team, obviously you make a collection full of your technical objects, right? So if you find that if you just go online, there are certain tools to find which all CDS views are there in your system. Just copy paste the entire code in your system, and you will the tool will fetch you the standard, the CDS views existing on your system. So suppose, or even as normally while doing development, we normally interact with the team members. So suppose while doing the development, we find that suppose Vimla is your teammate and Sanskriti is your teammate. Both of them worked on a CDS view and they created a CDS view which is sufficing your requirement already, right? And on top of that, if you just do a join with another database table and do some data modeling, it will do your work, right? So will you create a CDS view again from the scratch? No, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you will use that CDS view in another CDS view, use that already existing CDS view, do the data modeling with whatever database tables and all you want to do, and use it directly. So in that way, I want to mean. Got my point?
Mm-hmm.
But so in that case, it will suffice your requirement.
So basically, it's all coordination, right? Because from the system perspective, let's say, currently in regular ABAP, you go use the expansion module,
Very
maybe
good.
wherever it is used or
Very
something
good,
like that.
right?
But
Right. See, that approach already is existing. What also I told you, there is a tool. If you just search online, CDS Finder tool, there is a code given in a lot of blogs. Okay, so just
correct.
copy paste.
If I give like 4 tables, like which I'm planning to use in my CDS.
If there is any CDS view which is existing with respect to the tables, automatically it will come. So if you find that CDS view, go through that CDS view, do the data. See, first of all, before we go to ABAP on HANA, first of all, we should obviously analyze the data first. Then only you will be able to get a best fit solution for yourself, right?
Correct.
So do a data review, see the data, what you all need, and on top of that, you build your CDS view. Or if you want, you can directly consume in your ABAP OpenSQL.
Okay, so you're saying like there is a standard, so some tools maybe gives.
Tools are there. Just to search on Google now. CDS Finder tools, you will get a lot of code. Just copy paste the entire code. Just copy paste the entire code in your system. Just then use that tool. It will automatically give you the CDS views existing on your system. Okay.
Sure.
So Stephanie, I hope I gave you the answer for your question as well. So Alto CDS table functions fit in the picture is in that when I spoke about CDS, it includes everything. Your CDS table functions implemented by your database function. So I was using CDS as a word, like not exclusively CDS table function. Did you get my point, Aldo?
Kabir.
Sanskriti Vimla, you want to ask anything? Yeah, tell me.
This is Danny.
Yeah, Danny, tell me.
Just share a bit from your previous experience work in the S4HANA implementation project. What is the most type of technical activity in the S4HANA project? Like, do you do a lot of preparing the CDS view to be consumed by the Fiori? Because as you know, in the
S4HANA project, the biggest thing that you need to do as a developer is that the first thing is that whatever client you are working and anything, SAP means customization, right?
Yeah.
SAP means customization. So obviously that client or whatever organizations you're working for, obviously they will have custom codes, right?
Yeah.
They will be having those custom code. So the biggest activity that you need to take as a part of your S4HANA migration is your custom code migration. That's the first very important activity that you need to handle.
Okay.
Custom code migration will be on high priority because any customer doesn't want to lose out the existing functionalities. Let the new functionalities be late, but any customer won't want to lose out the existing functionalities, and any impact on that will be highly, highly highlighted, right? Anyone doesn't want to lose out on the existing functionalities. So that is the first point which we should majorly focus on. Then as a part of your S4HANA, see, CDS views comes later as a part of your S4HANA because with S4HANA coming into picture, more focus will be shifting towards CDS. But your existing codes which were there, those were not on CDS, right? So you need to take care of those. Then apart from those, there will be certain change in the processes which we will be having earlier. Like example, your vendor creation XK01, FK01 and so on and so forth will all be gone out of toss. So business partner and all this concept comes into picture. So just to give you a glimpse from overall S4HANA migration or S4HANA upgrade, these are some of the important points which we consider first. Then we go to your CDS views and all.
Yeah.
I hope it answers your question.
Yeah, unless it's the vanilla fresh implementation of the S4, isn't it?
So yeah, if you are doing a vanilla fresh implementation also, so yeah, then the approach will be a bit different because if you are completely doing from scratch, see the thing is that if you are completely doing from scratch and if a customer did not have a HANA as a database, then the first point what you will be checking for is like how your code gets compatibility with respect to HANA as a database, right? Because in your codes you will be having a lot of select queries and all, and then HANA coming into picture, you need to take care of all those things also. So if you are having a database migration also, then again a big one more headache will come with respect to database migration.
Okay, thank you.
You're getting my point? Okay.
Yeah.
Any further questions from anyone? Vimla, Sanskriti, Anuja, anyone? So after the logical extension of those course, like basically if you want to master CDS with query elements and all, or CDS with Bob, then you can go for all those things. And the first thing that I'll tell you all is that whatever concepts we have learned, try to implement bit by bit in your real-time requirements. Maybe everything you cannot implement at one go. Try to implement everything bit by bit. Second thing is that once you have become the master of all these things, as in, see, we cannot master ourselves in just a few months or something. Like while working with ABAP also, somebody has been working for 5 years, somebody has been working for 6 years, and day in and day out we learn something or the other. Each and every day is a learning for us. So similarly, maybe like when we want to really enhance more of our skills and taking CDS into perspective and all, obviously you can go for building query elements application with CDS. Then you can go for implementing your RAP concept, the new application programming model. But for all these things in the picture, you should have a S/4HANA system, which is a prerequisite. Because then only you will be really able to implement your all these advanced concepts like RAP and all these things into picture. So Stephanie, as I told you, if you want to enhance the standard CDS, yesterday I told you the concept of CDS extension, make use of that. AMDP enhancements will be very rare because there are certain bodies which has to be there, then only you can enhance the AMDPs. Otherwise, enhancement of AMDPs is not at all possible. There are a lot of restrictions with respect to enhancements of AMDPs. And normally we don't go also with the enhancement until and unless it's a very requirement which the customer is forcing us to do. Or if you ultimately if you want, you can create a Z copy also, but then already if you have a standard then and already that code is used, then you will have to change at a lot of multiple places. You getting my point, Stephanie? So I hope we had a good 5 weeks of learning. So people who haven't yet worked on all the assignments, it's a request that you people please work out on all the assignments, because I really took time to create all the assignments so that you people can focus on and apply all the concepts that we have learned during these 5 weeks. And in case if you have missed anything, go through the recordings while practicing or while learning anything. If you find doubts, post your questions on your group, write a mail to SAP Yard, so that your doubts can be clarified, and even you all can also help each other, so that it will really help us as an individual to understand how much we have grasped the same. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you for all the detailed information.
Thanks. So I request also all of you to give your feedbacks as a part of the end of this course, so that we can keep on like adding new things, keep on coming up with much more courses in the future, and also do keep tuned on to SAP Yard updates. Like they keep on coming up with new trainings and all. Okay, fine then. All of you stay safe until we meet next time. Yes, ABAP is more powerful than ever. So on this last day, the diagram that I told you, remember the next generation ABAP. I hope that you will remember the diagram on the day one, and we all as in developers from SAP community all tend to move forward and keep ABAP alive. Not people always speak about open source and all. Let's keep ABAP alive and make it more powerful than ever. I hope you all guys are with me on that same journey.
Yeah, Kabir. It's changed a lot since
yes.
the way it was and the way it is now.
And let not the Java developers only say that they only do cool stuff. Yes, we also do cool stuff. We are in SAP framework and we also do cool stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks guys. See you again. Bye. Take care.